Day 89 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, guys, we're back again. Another day, another LeetCode problem. You know how we do. And this time we're at day 89. And this is the last problem of the LeetCode 75. So give yourself a round of applause, guys. If you've been sticking with this channel this far, that means you've completed the LeetCode 75, and we're about to keep on moving though. It's not over yet, but that is something to be happy about. You completed the LeetCode 75, and we completed it together, guys. And I hope you learned something, and I know I learned something. But before we get started on this last problem of the LeetCode 75, guys, don't forget. Bring a mouse right over here and click that subscribe button for me, guys. Then after you click that subscribe button, go ahead and smash that like button for me, guys. Then after you smash that like button, I need all of my bankers. I repeat, all of my bankers to the comment section right now. Go ahead and drop 2 bank emojis in the comment section so we could run up this engagement and we could get this content out to a broader audience and we could help grow this Swift community, guys. We're trying to do our part and grow the Swift community. We're trying to keep up with the Swifties, the Taylor Swifties. You know, we got to do our part to help build the Swift community as well, guys. Now, with that being said, I know why you're here. And today we have question number 901, online stock span. The difficulty level is medium, guys, but don't worry, you know how we do. We like to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible because we're all learning here, and there's no point in writing code that nobody's going to understand but yourself. So now that let's get started on the question. Let's see what the question says. It says, design an algorithm that collects daily price quotes for some stock and returns the span of that stock's price for the current day. The span of the stock's price in one day is the maximum number of consecutive days, starting from that day and going backwards, for which the stock price was less than or equal to the price of that day. For example, if the price of the stock in the last 4 days is 7212 and the price of the stock today is 2, then the span of today is 4 because starting from today, the price of the stock was less than or equal to 2 for 4 consecutive days. Also, if the prices of the stock in the last 4 days is 73412 and the price of the stock today is 8, then the span today is 3 because starting from today, the price of the stock was less than or equal to 8 for 3 consecutive days. Implement the stock spanner class. Stock spanner initializes the object of the class. Int next int price returns the span of the stock price given that today's price is price. So let's break that down and see what it is they're talking about so we can know exactly what it is they want us to code, right? So the first thing they do, they're just going to call the stock spanner, then they're going to call next. They're going to keep calling the function next. These are the stock prices right here. So the first we had, it was no. Then the stock price was 100. Then it was 80. Then it was 60. Then it was 70. Then it was 60. Then it was 75. Then it was 85. What we need to do is find the span of the stock's price in one day. Find the span of the stock's price, right? So let's break it down. So the first one is null. It's an empty array, so we're just going to return null, right? Then the next day, the stock price was 100, right? 100. So what does it say? It says the span. It says right here, the span of a stock's price in one day is the maximum number of consecutive days starting from that day and going backwards, for which the stock price was less than or equal to the price of that day. So right here on day 1, we have, or day 2, I guess, the stock price was 100, right? Going back before that, it was null, so that is equal to or less than 100. So we put a 1 right here. The span is 1, right, for this 100. Or really, yeah, for this 100, right? Then we come to 80. 80 is just one day because if we go back the day before, then it's larger, right? The day before 80, it was 100. So the day is 80. So since it's not less than or equal to 80, the span is just one day. And excuse me, guys, don't get that confused with this is null, this is 0. So this is the 1 because we're basically starting. There are no days before 100, so it's going to be a 1. Then we check 80. We go back to see if it's less than or equal to. It's not, so we just count this only day. This is the only day that's included in count 80, so we put 1. We do the same thing for 60, right? We go back a day, it's greater than 60. It's not less than or equal to 60, so 60 is the only day. We put a span of 1, right? Now we come to 70. So 70, if we go back, 60 is less than or equal to 70. And we're counting the 70 as well. We're counting 70 counts and this day counts. So that's 2 days, right? So that's why the span is 2, because we're counting the day in itself as well. So it's 70 and 60. That's why it's 2, right? Then we come to 60. 60, we look to the day before 60. That was 70. That is not less than or equal to 60. So we put a 1 because 60 is the only day. The span is just 1 day, and that's that day. Then we go to 75. 75, 60 is less than 70 or equal to 75. 70 is less than or equal to 75. 60 is less than or equal to 75. 80 is not less than or equal to 75. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 days. The span is 4. That's why we put a 4. Then we come to 85, the last day. We check the day before. 75 is less than or equal to 85. Then we check the next day. 60 is less than or equal to 85, so we check the next day. 70 is less than or equal to 85, so we check the next day. 60 is less than or equal to 85, so we check the next day. 80 is less than or equal to 85, so we check the next day. 100 is not less than or equal to 85, so it stops right there, and the span is 6 because we have 85, 1, 75, 2, 63, 74, 65, and 80 is 6 days. The span is 6 days. So if we look at the explanation, it says right here, it basically says the same thing. We call the function for 100, we return 1, so on, like we just went over, right? So that's how the question works. That's what they want us to find out. So now that we know what we're trying to code, let's get into the fun part, which is the actual code. And the first thing we're going to do for that, we are going to declare a private variable called, so we're going to say private var, we're going to say stocks, we're going to call it stocks. We're going to cast that as open up your array brackets, then open up your parentheses, guys. First, we're going to put max, and that's going to be an integer. Then we're going to say comma, and we're going to put count, and that's going to be an integer as well. Then we are going to initialize it right here, stocks equals, we're going to initialize it with a blank array, right? Then we're going to come down here and we are going to declare a variable called count. We're going to set that equal to 1. After that, we're going to start a while loop, guys, and we are going to say while exclamation point stocks is empty. So what that means, while stocks is not empty, that's what that exclamation point means. Then we are going to say comma stocks dot last exclamation point, because it's optional, dot max. Then we're going to come over here, is less than or equal to price. Then what we are going to do is we are going to say count plus equals stocks dot last exclamation mark dot count. And we are going to come down here and we are going to say stocks dot remove last. Then we're going to come down here outside of the while loop and we're going to say stocks dot append, open up the parentheses one more time and say max colon, then we're going to say price, comma, then we're going to say count, colon, count. Then we're going to come underneath that and we are going to say return count, guys. And that's all she wrote. Let's see how it runs. Fingers crossed, no bugs, no typos, but there is a bug and a typo, and it is can't find stock in scope. So that means we need to add an S. So let's run it again and see how it runs the second time, guys. Fingers crossed. And it's accepted, guys. So let's submit it. See what happens after we submit it. You know, never be too short. And there it is, guys. 310 milliseconds beats 76.60% of users with Swift, guys. That's what I'd like to see. That's not too bad, not too bad at all. This is the last day of the LeetCode 75, guys. I hope you guys are excited about that. Tomorrow we are going to start on some easy string/array problems. We probably do these for about a month, guys. Maybe 30. We're going to do about 30 problems, maybe more, but we're really going to drill it home, really going to practice and strengthen our LeetCode game by starting from the beginning. This had a lot of mediums and easies, you know what I'm saying? We're just going to stick to the easies for about a month until we really understand what it's asking. Then we're going to move on to something else, guys. But I hope to see you guys there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. Peace.